Making beats on Audacity. I had the audacity to make beats on Audacity. I don't even know what I'm doing now.
Stepping lightly, we do this nightly. You're all up in my dreams. When we wake up, we making movie scenes that no one else can see.
I'm gonna go ahead and wait. Wait till you're ready. You there, brother?
How are you? God bless you. How are you?
So you wanted to make an entrance. That's all right.
I actually went out and came back in, but bless you.
I like how you did that. That was smart.
Pray, don't worry.
Well, so just a quick introduction. My name is Bianca Janae, and this is my brother.
Blaine Goodwin.
And Blaine is a very talented musician, pianist, producer, audio engineer,
African American.
based in Charlotte, North Carolina. And we just wanted to talk about a bit about like our creative process in general. But I really wanted to highlight some of the things Blaine's been doing recently. I told you this, and I say it again publicly that I feel like a lot of things you're doing are like a blueprint that it's really important to share the way that you're moving and the place you're coming from creatively. Because I think it's been really inspiring me, and I know it will inspire others. So, um, what do you have to say?
Really well done. First of all, thank you for having a conversation with your brother, and thank you for your professionalism, just a really complete thoroughness in your research. Um, your interview. No, thank you, Bianca, for real though. And so it all boils down to I want to,
Well, first, can we back up and talk about how long you've been doing music? Your origins with music. Did you always know you wanted to be doing this, that kind of thing?
I don't even know what I'm doing now. When I was a kid, I used to love to create things, and I remember like being really young. I just I wanted to be a composer. I was joking with that with a client the other day. That I wanted to be a composer. I was in the studio. And I was talking about that. I was like, I didn't know that producers existed. Like with digital production, I thought literally like you go, you write a symphony, you write a concerto, you would get proficient enough where you play it, and people play your music like sheet music, because that was my like understanding of what composition was. And I played an orchestra, and thankfully, in public school they had a double bass. So I was able to. I had to. Everyone else had to like rent instruments. You had to buy the instrument, rent it, and everything. It's like it was so expensive that they were like, "There's no way he's gonna rent this." The public school just gave us the bass, so we would always have a bass to rent from the school itself. Whatever old instrument they had. Strings like that high off of the bass. But you really learn to play, and you get around people playing instruments. As a musician, it's important. I'm so glad that's my background. Other than that, like being like 10 around the same time, my uncle had GarageBand. Uncle Tori had GarageBand on a computer. He would pick us up from school and have like the most ridiculous beats playing. And, when I was like 11 or 12. But he would have made the song that day, which I thought even then was like, that's awesome. Like, you made that song today. He would do loops. Like, he would do loops and he would, I remember one time he caught me like singing, like kind of like Drake singing, like, oh, about a girl. I was like in fifth grade. And he came in the room, his room, like I was on his, like making beats. He's like, no, stop that. He was like, no, you're not gonna be on my computer making noise. He said, you make beats, but don't be in here doing that, bro. So we really had a lesson of just not simping early in life. No, but he really did like show me how to make. He gave me an opportunity to start making beats at that time. Of course, in high school, I would like start digging into digital production for the first time. Like, and I was digging into like mostly like no fly again, so like, you know, just, score, stuff like that, scoring music. I wasn't like really producing. But I remember like 16, I was. I started getting like LMMS, which is like Linux Multimedia, I think. It was like a free, like Fruity Loops knockoff, then like F Fruity Loops, and then of course GarageBand when I could have a Mac. Audacity. I was making beats on Audacity. I had the Audacity to make beats on Audacity. And beyond, I'm like, oh, those are the beats I would show to family and friends and people in my school, and they'd be like, "There's no way you think this is good, bro." I was like, I don't think you should really ever do this in your life, man. But I'm glad you made. One thing I remember, some people were like, "Bro, at least he made something out of nothing. Like he made that, bro. So y'all need to like pick on him." I remember one of my friends, like in high school, said, "I was like, yeah, it's really cool." He said it. I was showing it to everybody that was already on marketing. Like I would literally like go on DM, just send people beats. Like they did not ask. Like it wasn't even a song. It was like a horrible beat. I was just like, "Hey, check this out." Like, bro, like who would just send his beats? Like I wasn't even trying to get those clients. I was just sending them the beat. But no, I definitely got introduction to production in that way. But in a serious note, by the time I was like 17, I'd already been like 5, 6, 7 years of creating. And I went to not at that level, but definitely like digging into it. I remember being in college, I got around hella people that were like playing at a really high level of proficiency, like people from South Korea that were playing like piano, like the professors that were like had their ears trained and stuff, and they recognized the theory a certain way, and they're kind of pushing that really hard for the music students. I was on a music scholarship, but the reason I went is because there was a recording studio in right by the office. The person that did double bass, he also did media integration, and also did like recording techniques and stuff. So he basically taught audio production. So his office was the studio, like really right there. So when I auditioned, I really didn't, no, not diminish double bass. I love double bass and really love playing. Looking forward to playing soon again, but it was a studio. I saw the studio in there and I was like, oh my God, I'm just going to come here and play and record. So that's what I did, sophomore year of college, which I pretty much perpetually stayed a sophomore. But I literally would just go into a recording studio whenever before it was open, 5 a.m. to like 9 with that class. After class, 10 a.m., whatever. So like around lunch, like 12, 1, after I'd eat, I'd just go until like 9 p.m. Then I would like go do whatever else I was doing, and I would just play the piano every day. Before I did that, I was just piano every day, like 4, 5, 6 hours. But outside of that, and this is kind of the last thing, I know it's kind of long winded, but
No, tell your story.
the piano was how I learned to heal myself and learn to emote because at 14, 15, I was in, mental hospitals a lot, and not just in mental hospitals, but like going through a lot of trauma and the emotions of crying. It was very challenging for me to cry. So when I would sit at the piano, I would literally play, and that's how I would emote, and that's how I would be able to cry, have the emotion of crying again, and sometimes able to actually physically cry again. So it came from, um, it was that healing, and that's a blessing. I would do the healing, the healing and playing, and what music became to me, and writing music became a way of reclaiming my autonomy, reclaiming my spirit in a way. So I got really good at just playing, and I take an idea and bring it to life without really almost auto consciously. So by the time I went to university, this is like 14, 15, 16, 17. It was like I was like 17, 18. By the time I was 19, I was already making like hundreds of songs. Like I was going in there and make like 20 beats a day, 20, 30, just different ideas, get them into a form, move on to the next idea, and just get everything. And just learning audio engineering. Because that's also, then I started making vocals. It won't sound it right, but I was like, I'm going to keep learning to mix. I'm going to keep like recording myself. I would go to the studio, sometimes bring friends or whatever, most of the time even myself, and bring musicians in that were also music majors that would play on my stuff, that were better at me at instruments at that time, definitely. So it was like, that became a like a training ground in a way of UNCP and that studio there. And I don't know anywhere else I'd have access to a professional studio for like 12 hours a day. So that became kind of the pillar for my music production side of things. And I just kept building tracks. Like there's hundreds of gigs that I don't have from that time, but the experience and value from that time is kind of transcendent. So when we move on from that, college, I have a traditional experience. I still, kind of battling mental health a lot, but overcoming the challenge. built some startups and stuff like and things like that. Built a really healthy startup with that kind of operated as like a taxi service. When I left that is when I went to about a year later after another reclaiming of my health. I came to Charlotte, and by the time I go to Charlotte, I'm auditioning for studios. They just see hella work, like hella music, whatever it is, like on my Instagram. So like, oh yeah, he can come in here. Got a job at a recording studio near Betty's Ford, and kind of based there, and would work at Amazon in the daytime, work at the studio, and so from there I would still do the same thing. I got really good at bringing clientele into the studio, and I was good at marketing because I'd run a startup, so that was kind of like congruent. So from there to now, through all the ups and downs, is a process of renewal to create and kind of feed the music in a way. And it's like you don't want to just take from the music. You want to, I feel like it's my responsibility to create and produce high quality and large volumes of work to say thanks in a way for being able to play and communicate my ideas the way I've been able to learn. And, being able to practically, be a kind of practitioner of that through content, through music and everything. So with the healing part as well being a big focal point. But shit,
Yeah,
that
no,
I was like, I feel like that was pretty long, Bianca. I'm not gonna lie.
there's nothing wrong with that. There's a lot of history that you have with music, so there's a lot to share.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with that. And it's really interesting, to kind of hear, because I know you, and my brother, so I lived through a lot of stuff with you, but to hear all like that was really interesting for me too, because like, oh yeah, that is how it played out. But to get some of my backstory, um, there's a lot of things that I'm thinking of based off what you just said, because one, it brings up memories, because, you know, I remember a lot of this stuff, but my backstory is that when I was watching Uncle Tory make beats too, I kind of knew immediately that I wanted to make music, like same as you, because it was like I would watch him on GarageBand. I would just be like, I was around 10, and I would just be like imagining I would be tapping on the desk like the drum beat that I would want to make if I was the one recording. But he was kind of particular about his computer, which I understand because we were kids. So it was like a dream of like one day I'm gonna have GarageBand. And I was a kid, that was my dream. Like I just dreamed about having GarageBand. That's all I cared about. And but I know that I like tapping on stuff. So then in middle school, I joined band, I joined percussion. Everybody else like in our family did orchestra. Like you played bass, and our two older sisters played violin. And I wanted to be different, but I also really liked drumming, and I always wanted a drum set when I was a kid. It was GarageBand and a drum set. It was the two things that I was like fixated on. But then I remember one time Bree went to Belize on a trip, and she came back with guitar, and then I was like, "What's that?" And then I started to be like, um really wanted to play guitar, but younger sibling stuff. Brianna's 6 years older than me, or older sister. And so when I was like maybe 12 and I wanted to play her guitar, she was like, no, you can't touch my guitar, bro, because you're going to break it. And so it became like this determination in my mind, like, I gotta play it. And eventually, a little bit after that, I would sneak and play her guitar for a long time. If she wasn't home or something, or she wasn't paying attention, I'd go to the room and just play her guitar, figure out chords and stuff like that. And eventually I got my own guitar. And I can really say guitar is my first love. Like I fell in love with guitar. I was, I just love playing. I love learning new stuff. And, um, then one of our mutual friends, Mitchell Lowry, he came into the scene and he taught me so much on guitar. He was like he really believed in me, and that meant a lot to me. And he took the time to slow things down and show me stuff on guitar, and he really elevated my playing. And it always meant a lot to me that he took me seriously because I was a kid. Um, and the way that we used to, it's really cool how we were kids and we always loved music. So we used to rap battle. We would just we would just rap battle, felt like for hours, and we weren't really good at it, but it was fun. We were just having fun. And then Blaine, he didn't get to this part, but he kept going with the rap battles to the point that now he just busts out these flows like buster rhymes. Just like, you guys what to say about that?
In college, I mean, I was still trying to like rap, but I wasn't good. Like I remember like confidence and plays a big role